microeconomics, and basically any economic system is trying to get to the stage where economic efficiency is sort of maximized, or where you can achieve economic efficiency. What is it? It is making the best use of our scarce resources amongst competing ends so that our social and economic welfare is maximized. Now, in a sense, that's quite a vague term, but it's sort of bring in the idea that we want to produce goods really efficiently, obviously, but we want to make sure that our social welfare is also maximised. So economic efficiency is really made up of the following things I'm now going to be talking about. And you need to bear these in mind all the way through the course, because as an economist, you're always trying to look at making the best use of those scarce resources to maximise our social welfare. So when you look at industries, does that industry maximise our social welfare? We've looked at competition policy in the sense that we don't want our firms to become too big or join up together and raise prices. We've had a very brief look at a monopoly, whereby a monopoly may raise the price. There may be a net loss for society compared to a competitive market, okay? But now we're going to have a look at all those things. But on the background of all of this are the different sorts of efficiency that you can have. So the first one on here is productive efficiency, which is producing at the bottom of the average total cost curve is one definition, or getting a maximum output from your inputs that you put in here. So it's producing at the bottom of the ATC curve, which is there. It's also producing on the edge of the production possibility curve from there. The next one is allocative efficiency, and you're always trying to get to the point where your price is equal to your marginal cost. And if that is the case, you're maximising your allocative efficiency, as it were. If you stop here before that point, the value that we place on that good for that individual consumer is greater than the cost of producing that good. Can you see that down there? So therefore we should produce more goods to get to that point where the two are equal. If we go beyond that point, the marginal cost of producing each good is greater than the value that we place on it, right? That has nothing to do with profit. It's all to do with how we can maximize our social welfare, which goes back to the idea of economic efficiency. X-inefficiency is simply when you don't have enough efficiency in the market structure is incorrect, so therefore you have X-inefficiency, and that may mean that the average total cost curve will go up. Economies of scale, we always want to achieve economies of scale. That means as a firm gets bigger, it can buy things in bulk, it can use bigger machines, so therefore your average cost per unit go down. So on this diagram up here, we achieve economies of scale up to that point. After that point, we are achieving diseconomies of scale. Dynamic efficiency. This is efficiency over time, and hopefully over time we will find out new ways of doing things, and that's through innovation. Remember doing the macro, well, when you do the macro course, it's all about creating more innovation, more efficiency, new ways of doing things. And over time, new technology, new practices, e.g. if you look at cars in terms of miles per gallon, they used to do 20 miles a gallon, and now some are doing 70 miles a gallon. That's much more efficient and a better use of our scarce resources. So that is a movement towards economic efficiency from there. We have covered this one, demerit and merit goods. We want to get to the point where marginal social benefit is equal to marginal social cost. And that in a way is quite similar to this idea here, because if we're at this point here, our marginal social cost is much greater than our marginal social benefit. So we can gain extra welfare if we move to that point there. Beyond that point, the cost is far greater than the marginal social benefit. So in that case, there is a lack of economic welfare, and we'd be better off moving back to that point. Technical efficiency is about making the optimum use of inputs in terms of the outputs. Okay, distributed efficiency, making sure that the gains that we get from society are distributed evenly so it is equitable. Static efficiency is exactly what it means, right? Dynamic efficiency is over a period of time. This refers to a point in time, and that we are at the productively efficient point, and then we're getting the maximum output from the inputs that we put into the business. Okay, so these are all the different sorts of efficiency that we can have. If we move over here now, we have a monopoly and a perfect competition. You will not understand these diagrams yet. However, please note, in perfect competition, we produce at the bottom of the ATC line. So we are productively efficient. We also produce at the point of where price is equal to marginal cost, which is there. Both those points coincide with each other. So in perfect competition, we are allocatively efficient and we are productively efficient. Whereas in monopoly, neither of those points occur, because the point of allocative efficiency is there, but we produce at that point there, so it's a different point. And if you can remember, going back to that monopoly diagram, the consumer surplus is less within monopoly than it is within a perfectly competitive market or a competitive marketplace. We tend to have lower prices. So this is really the discussion of economics. What is the best system to have to increase economic efficiency, which is making the best use of our scarce resources amongst competing ends so that economic and social welfare is maximised.